So that's the whole aspect of women supporting women, and why it is so important to be in alignment with the person that you're actually working with, be they male or female. And those, I never felt as if I was a victim. While they were tough, they were just challenges that came up for me to meet and to um, to rise to. And there's different ways of rising to the occasion. So there's that whole thing of you don't have to do it all by yourself. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay to ask for support, because if they are what it is that you need at that particular moment in time, then that's exactly what it is. And that's part of you realizing the help and being in tune with the help and support that you are part of. The next part I'm going to talk about, so I'm doing this in under headlines. Letting go of a partner. When I did my NLP, I discovered a sense of self and self-discovery and probably peace that came with all of the realizations and the intuition and everything that I had done. So when it came time to have a discussion with my then husband about where we wanted to go with, one of the things I learned is that you need two people to be working together, so that you can evolve and grow. So when I had that discussion with as I said, with my then husband about what it is that he wanted to do, and I gave him permission. I think that's important, that it is, if somebody wants to go or somebody wants to leave, that it's really important that you give the permission to do so. If they are not willing to work with you, if they are willing to work with you, then that's great. But we had worked together in previous years and went to counselling, and while it seemed to work at the time, the best way I can describe it is papering over the cracks, writing slip, papering over the cracks. And he admitted himself that he felt, because the counsellor was in fact a woman, that it was 2 against 1. So having a discussion with somebody and giving them the ability to leave, it is something that you can actually, it's a gift you can do for yourself, because you cannot single-handedly work within a relationship. You need two people working and growing in harmony together. So when we had that discussion and he said that he would like to leave, I basically said that if that's what it is you want, then, so be it. And then there's perception and reality. So while he would have been working abroad and I would have been at home, we would have been still together. And I found out that that the energy of separation was very, very different to the energy of being physically apart while together. And I don't think I was prepared. I wasn't really prepared for the sense of the wool being pulled out from under my feet. And that was a shock. So it was a seismic event, as they say. And it took me a few weeks probably to rediscover my equilibrium again and to feel as if I've got, that I had feet on the ground. Because when you make a decision like that, you go into panic mode, you go into flight or fight. What's going to happen? What's going to happen to the kids? How are we going to be supported? How are we going to make money? All of these things come up, and they all come on you at the same time. And I've discovered several things in life, and one of them is when they all come together, you have to pick the one that's most predominant, and work with that, because that's the one that has the biggest impact. I had a friend of mine who had studied law. She wasn't in family law, so I couldn't actually go to her. But when I spoke to her in a panic, and it was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And she was really a rock. She was somebody that she gave me advice, and the reality of her being on board and for me to have a safe harbour that I could just touch with her basically allowed me to calm down and to find my feet, and to start working, because not everything is done and dusted in that very moment in time. It takes a while. Life is a process. And indeed, it was over probably the next 6 months or thereabouts when the things actually worked. Because not only are you going through a process, you can make a decision for the good of all concerned. And you can actually grieve that decision, because while you know it's the right decision, you're grieving for what it is that had gone before. So that was something that people may not realize. You can make a decision that's right for you, but you can also grieve for what it is that you're letting go of. And that's a powerful lesson, a lesson to be learned. So the other thing was that it can be quite easy for men to walk away, particularly if you have been the primary caregiver. So it can be easy for them to walk away emotionally as well as physically. And in the process of the way things work at the moment is that you as a woman have to work, you have to support your family, you have to rediscover who you are, and you have to try and make a life for yourself. But it usually follows that, depending on the ages of your kids, it usually follows that the kids take precedent over you, because you are aware of what it is and you're supporting them as well as yourself. You also have to, in the process of letting go, I discovered that because of the language of the law, that its very passive-aggressive nature creates conflict rather than collaboration. And that was, I found that very, very challenging and very, very difficult. It was something that actually, instead of creating harmony, because while we had agreed to separate together and in harmony, the language that was used by my solicitor and the language used in general was very confrontational, very passive aggressive. So both of us found ourselves in the situation. So working with solicitors. So working with the solicitors created conflict where there was none. And soon we both found ourselves locked in a situation that wasn't very, very happy, or yeah, it was just not a great scenario. And I also have found that in a situation, you need one adult. So to get us out of that situation, I was the one who had to be the adult. I was the one that had to work, had to put out the olive branch, because we were going to stay in an impasse if one of us didn't do something. So that was very, very interesting. That it is possible to do these things for the greater good. So that was interesting. So it was. So that's 20 minutes.